idea of Today I Notice is really extremely simple. The idea is that we use the prompt Today I Noticed to remind us to pay attention to the everyday moments, to what's around us and what's inside of us. And so as we go through our day, we carry that phrase in our head. And then usually later in the day, we capture one or a few of the observations that we've had through words and, a simple sentence and a simple sketch.
That's right. And if you're wondering what that might look like, here's an example. We call these observations TINs, standing for Today I Noticed. We like to keep things simple. But as you can see, this is an example. This is a tin that I created a while ago, and I'll read it to you. Today, I notice the ridiculous lengths I go to so I can carry all the groceries from the car to the kitchen in one trip. So this is just a little moment that I have experienced probably countless times in my life, where I'm standing at the trunk of my car, weighting myself down with a million bags because I really hate going back to the car anytime, more times than I absolutely need to. And because I had the framework in my head of Today I Noticed, I had this ability to pause and notice myself noticing this sort of ridiculous length that I go to avoid coming back to the car. Turns out I'm probably not the only one who does this.
You're definitely not.
So Deb, you want to talk a little bit about how Today I Noticed, how we met and who we are, and we'll talk about how we started this.
So Willow and I coincidentally live about 2.5 blocks from each other, but it wasn't until our boys were it was about 7 years ago, and our boys were in 6th grade, and they were on the same soccer team. And Willow and I spied each other on the sidelines, and quickly started spending the time at the soccer games, not looking at our kids, but chatting with each other. And we discovered, one, that we just really liked each other, but also that we had a lot in common. And one of those things that we had in common was that we both had been meditators and had recently fallen off the meditation pillow. And but we still wanted to, we were just having trouble being disciplined about that, but we still wanted to find a way to be more mindful, to just live more in the present. So we were both kind of thinking about that. And the other thing we had in common is that as time went on and we got to know each other more and more, and spent lots of times together going on adventures and just doing things together, we realized we wanted to come up with some sort of creative project that we could do together, something that would be inspiring and nourishing. And so we were always kind of thinking about that in the background as we spent time together. But we didn't come upon an idea until one day when we went into San Francisco together. And Willow, maybe you could tell a little bit about that.
Sure. We laugh because this adventure in paying attention that we've embarked on actually came about because we were not paying attention. We had a full day planned for ourselves in San Francisco that would start at the Museum of Modern Art at MoMA, and then we'd go out for lunch, and then we were going to go to a Broadway show. But as we marched up to the doors of MoMA, very pleased because we were the only ones there, first in line, we discovered that MoMA was actually closed on Wednesdays. So we hadn't paid enough attention to actually look at the website and see what their hours of operation were. So undaunted, we decided that we would take ourselves on an urban walking adventure for the next couple of hours. But instead of just wandering aimlessly and sort of getting caught up in our conversation, we decided that we would walk around the city, really trying to tune in and pay attention to what was around us. And after a couple of hours, we had already discovered so many things that we wouldn't have noticed otherwise. Things like a library that was nestled in a historic building on the 5th floor that we didn't know was there. We came upon a Frank Lloyd Wright building that was hidden by a row of food trucks, pop-up trucks. We saw a lovely older couple holding hands as they walked slowly down the street together. All these little moments and discoveries that would have passed by us unnoticed had we not decided to really start paying attention. And we were so taken with this idea and the discoveries that we were having, we decided that this would be the framework for our creative project that we've been looking for. And the very next day, we started it. We got some art journals and some simple supplies and started to pay attention very intentionally to things that were happening around us and within us, using any one of our senses or multiple senses, things that we saw, heard, thought, felt, smelled, tasted. Nothing was, anything goes. So we did this separately for several weeks before we decided to share what we were noticing with each other. And Deb, you want to talk about what that experience was like?
Sure. We when we got together with carrying our journals to share, I think we were both a little bit nervous, like, what's this going to be like, showing these observations that we've had in our drawings. But as soon as we cracked open those journals, we just realized what a great adventure this was going to be, because as we showed each other, we alternated showing each other our tins. We couldn't believe how much how much we share, how our observations were something that the other person had noticed as well. So we turn the pages and say, "Oh, I noticed that. I noticed that too," and it really made us realize that we all sort of go through our days, and the truth is we have so much in common. And each tin was sort of a story in itself. And Willow and I found that it was really a conversation we were having as we looked through the journals. And as we continued on doing it separately, we realized it was also a conversation. When I would be making tins, I would be thinking about Willow, and I wonder if she's noticed this, and I wonder how she'll react to this. So it was a really cool thing to do together.
Yeah. And as Deb said, it was a point of connection. It was this really rich conversation. It was also a lot of fun. And it also turned out to be the mindfulness practice that we were looking for. And I'm sure you've all heard the term mindfulness. It's very much, in our culture these days. And it takes many forms and many approaches. But fundamentally, mindfulness is really just about choosing to slow down and tune in and pay attention. And in that process of paying attention, it's research shows, and we've certainly experienced that it creates sort of a shortcut to gratitude and to joy and to appreciating what's around you. And that's something that we have felt very powerfully throughout this noticing journey that we've been on. So we're going to show you a few of our tins, and then we'll talk some more. And we want to show you these tins for a lot of reasons. One is to show you that there's nothing too small or too ordinary to notice. And that's something that we didn't ever discuss when we set out to do this, but it really became clear that we were savoring those tiny moments. We didn't have to be something momentous or profound. The significance of what we were noticing was revealed just simply in the act of noticing. So here's one that I did recently, and I call it Dinner Simplified. Today I noticed that sometimes it just has to be cereal for dinner. And this was on one of those, regular Thursday nights when the week is rolling to a close and there's no food in the fridge and no one wants to run out to the store and everyone wants something different, and cereal seems to be the great equalizer when you have no other dinner options.
This one is called The Magic of Redwoods, and I did this one in the early days of the pandemic. And it says, today I noticed that standing amidst redwood trees can, for a brief moment, lull you into feeling that all is right in the world. And I really had that feeling when I was hiking one day in a redwood forest. And after just such an onslaught of news and a feeling of anxiousness, I just felt like when you're out in the redwoods, everything just calms down, and you can have a moment of feeling like the world is okay.
Oops. Zoom is not okay. Yes, here we go. This one is called Sleep Matters. Today, I notice what a difference a good night's sleep makes. So there's the bad sleep mindset, which is that awful feeling that the world is gray and dark and heavy and there's nothing bright in it simply because you just didn't get enough sleep. And the difference between that and a good sleep mindset, which is the world looks a whole lot brighter no matter what is going on. It really depends on how well you slept the night before. It's something I experience a lot.
This one is called Sticks With You. Very simple. Today I noticed something you never forget: kindness. And that I did that one day when I saw someone that I don't know very well at all, but 4 years earlier, when my son was very sick in the hospital with a life-threatening illness, she had heard about it and left on our doorstep a complete meal for us to eat that night. And I just will never forget that, because it's lovely when a good friend does something like that. But when someone you barely know does it, it's just, it just floods you with good feelings.
Yeah. And one thing that I just love about this tin of Deb's is that the image, there's so much in it without trying to actually represent kindness. You know, this is of course an abstract way to illustrate kindness. And that's one of the wonderful things about Today I Notice, is that anything goes as far as what the sketch or the illustration might look like. A mark on the page of any kind is enough. And I just love this interpretation of kindness. Here's one you may relate to: start the morning right. Today, I notice the tiny rush of joy I feel when I find my favorite coffee cup is clean and ready to be filled. Again, something that I probably notice and feel every single time I open my cupboard in the morning, about to have my cup of coffee. And there's just something extra delightful about being able to drink my coffee from my favorite cup, and a little bit disappointing when that cup is dirty and in the dishwasher.
And you know, Willow, this is one, when I saw it, I just had that feeling of, oh yeah, me too. It's just like such a small, tiny thing, but when you put your attention on it, you really recognize it's the little things that can make the moment.
That's right. We've all experienced it. It's that noticing yourself noticing that really makes it sort of magical.
This one's called A Lone Leaf, and it says, today I noticed tenacity. And I was just walking by a tree one day, and there was literally one leaf left, and I couldn't help but wonder, what is it about that leaf that it's the one that's still holding on?
I love that. And here's one a little less profound, but certainly relatable. Found it. Today, I noticed that sometimes, usually after about 18 loads of laundry, the missing sock eventually turns up. And I had, of course, been trying to find this darn sock, and eventually there it was in the laundry. I don't know how that happened. And I just had this funny image of the sock, you know, sort of banging on the front of the dryer. Hello, let me out. I want to come out and be free. I want to match with my buddy. So that's what I noticed that day. So we want to just recap a little bit, talk a little bit more about why we love Today I Notice so much. It's a simple, really fun way to be more present and to increase your gratitude. And again, that gratitude word is really important here because it is very easy to get sort of bogged down and even overwhelmed by the news, the state of the world. Even at the best of times, there's a lot of troubling things going on. And in the last year, it has certainly not been the best of times. And this framework for seeing the world and for paying a little bit more attention to those little special moments, or really the ordinary moments that make up our life. It's a real and powerful way to appreciate those moments and do it just as part of your everyday actions and activities.
It's also a way to feel connected to other people, like we talked a little bit about. There's, when I'm making a tin, sometimes I wonder, as I'm doing it, I wonder, do other people notice this? And as we've said, we've discovered that so much of what we all notice, there are things that other people can relate to all over the world.
Yeah, and to that point, we share what we're noticing. We share our tins on an Instagram page where, in fact, we do have followers from all over the world. So it's so rewarding and surprising at times when Deborah and I, sitting in Mill Valley, post a tin and someone from London, from Sydney, from Dubai, from all over the world comments and says, hey, I noticed that too, or thank you for sharing that. You really captured the way I feel about it. There really is a deep sense of connection to strangers who we've never met, but we are we're in community with through our Instagram account. So another reason we love Today I Noticed, of course, is that it gives us a creative outlet for writing and drawing. And it's so easy to find an excuse for not having creative expression as part of your daily life or just your regular schedule. It's easy to say, I'm too busy. It's easy to say, I'm just not good enough. But when you have a framework, especially one that is as simple as Today I Noticed, it really becomes such a nourishing and satisfying part of the day. It's quick, we just spend a few minutes each day working with our very simple art supplies and our journals. We don't need easels and we don't need mats down to protect the rug and we don't need expensive art supplies, but we do get that quiet right brain time. And if you've ever done anything creative, you know that right brain experience is so delicious in terms of just feeling relaxed and focused, and the world just kind of disappears. So we've created this framework where we get to do that. It's sort of a gift that we've given ourselves on a really regular basis.
We've also discovered something that we had totally not expected, which is that our collection of tins has become a chronicle of everyday life. And we see that that no matter what's going on in our life, whether the seasons are different, it's a different time of year, there's a big life event, or we're even having different moods, that is all reflected in our tins. So as we look back at our journals, we have a really interesting view of our life, and it doesn't represent sort of the big things so much, but rather the daily moments that make up our life. And that's a really special view to be able to have. And we found that both doing the tins and then looking back at them, it really sort of cements our memories, which we really enjoy.
Yeah. Now, on that note, of course, in the beginning of March, the pandemic hit. So while we may not want to spend a lot of time remembering what the last year or so has been like, without ever discussing it or planning it in any way. In fact, what we've been doing with Today I Noticed has become a chronicle of the pandemic, as you know, as Deb and I have experienced it. And again, you know, we share what we're noticing with people all over the world, and there's been a real sense of resonance in terms of the experience that we are sharing, whether we like it or not, on a global level. So here's a few of the tins that we've created in the last year. This was one of the first ones that I created. This was sometime in March of 2020. It's called Adapting Quickly. Today, I noticed how quickly we're all adapting to unfathomable change. And you will probably remember well, a year ago, when everything was so intense and frightening and overwhelming. And this incredible sort of silence that settled over our world, in fact, over the world, with everything closed. You know, we all saw the photos of empty streets and empty stores and empty parks. And this is the image that came to me, that it was helpful for me to process what was going on by first coming up with a sentence that described it, and then an image that somehow encapsulated so much of what was happening on a global level.
This one is called Too Much, Too Little, and it was also done in the early days of the pandemic. And it says, today I noticed that sometimes it feels like I'm being bombarded with too much information, and other times I just can't get enough. And I think probably other people had this feeling that there was so much information coming at us in the early days, and you didn't know what was accurate, what was inaccurate. So there was a feeling of overwhelmingness, and then at the same time, I just wanted like finite, clear, accurate information, and it did not feel like I could get enough of that.
One thing that I love about this image is, Deb, your use of that little eye, which is, of course, you know, that universal button that we've all seen. You know, when you need more information, you click on the little eye on your screen. And I just love the way you incorporated that into this. This one you might relate to. It's called All Fogged Up. If you wear glasses and you have tried to wear a mask, you will probably know what I'm talking about. Today, I noticed that I'm really sick of looking through an opaque fog of condensation.
I can't tell you how many people have said that they wish someone would invent something that would prevent that fogging up.
Well, it's called contact lenses, and I have started wearing mine for the first time in decades, but only for hiking.
This one's called Unstoppable. It says, today I noticed that the sun comes up every day, no matter what COVID-19 does. I remember making this tin and deliberately thinking, just feeling so overwhelmed and thinking I need to, you know, pay attention to the positive things. And certainly this is one of them.
Yeah, and what I notice about this is that, you know, we all can relate to that sense of, oh my God, there must be something good that is out there in the world when everything feels so dark. And it probably didn't take much to tune into this, right? The sun comes up for all of us. And it was really just a matter of paying attention and noticing that you were noticing that, right?
Yeah, and then when you let yourself notice those kinds of things, it helps tamp down sort of all the negativeness that you're seeing and feeling.
Yeah. So that's a great segue to remind you that there are 4 great reasons, at least, to try Today I Noticed. So this is a way to live in the present, and it doesn't require sitting on a meditation pillow or going into a dark room and needing total silence. This is about living in the present just as we already are, simply by dialing up this sense of awareness by paying attention. Here's a funny tin. This one's called Priorities. Today I noticed that rather than disturb my cat when he's sleeping on top of the clean laundry, I just find something else to wear. So doesn't have to be profound, doesn't have to be deep, but I bet if anyone has owned a cat out there or has a cat, you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
And the thing that's really nice about this kind of tin is like Willow's grocery one. You by just noticing it and spending a little bit more time with your awareness on it, you get to have that moment of sort of pleasure of enjoying how silly it is that you let your cat dominate to dictate what you wear.
Yeah, and that levity, Deb, it's about in this case, it's about myself. Like, how silly am I? Like, I had planned to wear that thing that is 2 levels below his nice, warm, purring body, but no, the cat is king. So I will change my plans so that it's not, to not disturb his highness.
Right. It will, today I notice, makes you feel more grateful as you spend time sort of noticing the small moments, small precious moments. You appreciate them more. So that the day goes by and you didn't let all the little moments that could bring you joy or appreciation slip by. You took a moment to take them in and maybe even savor them. And this is one called Good Sounds. Today I noticed how much I like hearing the sounds of my husband and son cooking together. And that was just a little moment that I could have let pass me by, but I really took that in and enjoyed listening to my husband and son, teenage son, doing something together and really enjoying it and laughing.
And Deb, I'll bet that this carries over to other moments that they're sharing, that you're seeing them anytime you see them now sharing a moment or doing something together. I bet that resonates.
For sure.
Today I noticed is a great way to connect with others. And we talked already about, connecting with each other in terms of this shared experience, and then deciding that we wanted to see if we might connect with others by sharing it in a broader way on Instagram and on our website. And, we've already said this, but really we can't emphasize enough how much that has happened, this connection with other people. Simply, we're not talking politics, we're not talking policy, we're not talking, world order. We are just talking or sharing about these tiny little ordinary moments that in fact are part of a universal experience. And that really does foster a sense of connection and community. This particular post I created actually in one of my last trips before the pandemic, when I was lucky enough to celebrate a 50th birthday with some girlfriends in New Mexico. And just thinking about how we had stayed friends for many, many years, despite huge geographical changes and distance. And this point feels even more resonant now when we are all separated because of the pandemic, and really trying to establish or maintain connections even through a Zoom screen like we are today. So today I noticed that true friendship is not diminished by geographical distance.
Today I noticed is a way to be creative. Willow talked a little bit about this. Taking a moment each day, or at least on some regular basis, to express yourself creatively is really soul nourishing. And you don't have to be an artist or think of yourself as an artist. I personally, literally, probably had not drawn anything more ambitious than a circle since 4th grade, until we started doing Today I Noticed. And I just didn't let myself worry about the end result and thought more about the fact that this is a really enjoyable moment, and that's what matters. So this one says, today I noticed that when you let people sit at a table full of art supplies, they turn into artists. And that actually happened at a museum back in the days when we went to museums. And there was a little event in a little event in a big room, and they had put art supplies at a table, and there were enough seats for like 20 people. And someone was suggesting what the art project would be, and I had to wait like 10 minutes to get a seat because there were paints and paper, and everybody just had set themselves down and couldn't stop creating little paintings. And I was really struck by how, sort of like everybody goes back to kindergarten when you put some art supplies in front of them, and it seemed like a very freeing moment for everyone. It was really cool to see.
That's such a lovely memory to share, Deb. And, you know, one thing that we've found is that while it was really rewarding in the beginning to just share this noticing practice with each other, you know, we were quite nervous about sharing it with the world, we'll say, when we posted it on Instagram. But we decided, you know, it's not about the level of artistry. It is about the practice, and it is about showing up and doing the noticing. And we did choose to share it, and that has been very rewarding for us. But just the other day, I was with a friend of mine who is a professional artist, and she knows about Today I Noticed. And it's not something that she participates in. She doesn't create tins and share them the way we do. But she let me know that she carries those 3 words, Today I Noticed, with her in her head all the time. And we were on a walk, and she just reeled off 2 or 3 or even 4 things that she had noticed in the last 24 hours because she carried these this lens with her. And that's really been something so powerful. We've discovered that once you start noticing, you really can't stop. It's a very natural act, and we're all doing it all the time. It just takes a little bit more intention to notice what we're noticing. So with that being said, we'd love to turn this over to you guys and see if you have any questions, any comments, anything that you want to know about, or let's hear it.
Or anything you noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I wondered if you put a date on your in your journals, would that ruin the picture? Or if you don't put a date, how do you know when it is?
That's such an interesting question, because at the beginning, Willow and I put dates on all of them. And then when we started sharing them on Instagram, we didn't really want we didn't really want the dates in there. So I will tell you what I do, and I don't know what Willow does. I put the date at the very top lightly in pencil. And then the way we put the posts on Instagram is we snap a photo. So I just make sure I don't include the date. But I do have the date in there in my journal.
Yeah, a couple things. So 2 changes I think that we've made since we started from the very beginning and then decided to share it on Instagram. Originally, we would put the date, and we also wrote, I would write Dear Deb, and she would write Dear Willow. So it really had this sort of more of a letter form, even though we were writing, you know, very short, a short observation. And we talked about that actually when we decided to post it to Instagram, and decided that it would feel a little bit more open and inviting if it was, if it didn't have that sort of exclusive, you know, very focused lens or dedication. One thing that, so to answer your question, what I do now, I don't generally put the date on each post, but I include the range of the dates for each journal that I create. So once I finish a journal, I know the end, I know when it started and I know when it ended. But I do think that there is a real timelessness about our posts generally. Now, you can very much mark the beginning of the pandemic if you look through our feed and land, you know, pretty quickly on the world is closed image. and maybe a couple before that, that's really, a marker, a visual marker of when the pandemic started. But aside from that, Deb, see if you agree. I feel like there is actually a real timelessness about what we are noticing simply because it's part of ordinary everyday life.
I think so. And when we look back on our tins, I think what's more important is the memory that it invokes. So not so much the point in time that it sits. So I can look back at that tin with the lone leaf, and it literally takes me back to where I was when I saw that and how I felt. And that feels much more important than the date.
And one other thing that that we laugh about sometimes is that when we get new followers on our Instagram page, often people go into the feed and they will like or click on or like a post that they like. And because of that, we get notifications about posts that are months and months and months old. And it's just this funny moment where they resonate with or interact with a post that is long ago in terms of chronology, but it's a moment or an experience that they connect with in that precise moment, and they let us know.
Why do you call them tins? What does that mean?
TIN, T-I-N, stands for Today I Noticed.
Okay.
We felt like we needed a word to refer to them. They're observations, but they're observations that include a short description and an image. So that made sense to us.
It's pretty straightforward.
We had to make our own word.
Well, and it's also, it's a noun, it describes the post, but it's also a verb because we tin, or we are tinning. And we weren't looking for an acronym that worked as a noun and a verb, but we did actually find one.
Any other questions? Comments?
Tell us about some of the community's tins.
Do you mean some of the tins that other people have made?
Mm-hmm.
I saw there was one just recently, like I think it was last week, where I don't remember the exact words, but it said something about going to the gym is a brief moment of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great image of a guy like pulling himself up, doing a pull-up. And I think what he was referring to was just getting away from it all, going to the gym, being in his workout world, and not thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
That sort of delighted us to see that, because because we love to see that he was appreciating that moment.
We actually have a young girl, I think she's in 4th grade. It's not someone we know, but we know about her, who posts tins. And they're often really sweet things that she's noticed about her dog, and the way her dog looks at her and how she loves her dog more than anything in the world. And it's just so lovely to see that kind of interaction going on.
Sorry.
And another one that just stands out to me because it was just such a spectacular moment to notice, and you had to just simply be lucky enough to notice it. One of our followers posted about seeing a group of nuns in full habit hiking through the redwoods here in Mill Valley. And just the image of that, she's a beautiful artist, created a beautiful image to go with that. But it was really the moment and the memory of that was so powerful. And I thought, oh, I wish I'd seen that.
Another one along the lines of Willow's letting her cat sit on the laundry, that was done by someone in the community, was it was a drawing of her 2 dogs in her bed, and it said, "Today I noticed that rather than disturb my dogs when I want to make the bed, I just leave the bed unmade." And one more, one that I love that was done by a teenager, and that teenager happens to be Willow's 18-year-old son. I think maybe he was 17 when he did it. That said, it was very sweet. Today I noticed what a difference a thank you makes.
That's right.
How great that a teenager notices that. And
Has a question. And then
I-
end with
I
two.
was thinking, whoops, I guess I can unmute. I was thinking that my things that I do on a daily basis, since I live alone, but am in my neighborhood, I take photos. And my whole last year is chronicled on my phone.
yeah,
That's my today, I noticed.
yeah, absolutely. And we've heard of other people doing that too. And we all have most of us have a camera on our phones, and that's another way, and another creative way to practice today, I noticed.
I have
Especially when
seen
you can
people
go-
that are doing walking around the neighborhood and stop and take a picture of something interesting during their walk.
Yeah.
Do you ever create a caption to go or make a note somewhere so that you can remember what it was precisely that caught your eye?
Sometimes I'll post it on Facebook, or sometimes I'll just send it to a friend.
Yeah.
And do you articulate what it was about it? I mean, I'm sure there are beautiful photos that don't need explanation, but sometimes it's nice to know what it was exactly that, you found compelling.
Yeah, sometimes, yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So I imagine when you go on a walk, I imagine you sort of are looking as you walk along, you're looking for things to capture.
Mhm.
So you're already doing.
Always.
And the fact that, you've got your phone in your pocket, like you said, you are chronicling your life, your time,
Yes.
and just make sure you back it up.
Linda, did you have a question?
It's not a question, it's more of a statement. A couple decades ago, I took a course that was called the quick sketching for the traveler. And then we had a family vacation going to San Diego. So we were on the plane. So I grabbed whatever I could draw on and gave some to my son. But then when we were in San Diego, we drew on business cards. Whenever we went to the restaurant, we grabbed a bunch of their cards. And so the point the teacher made was you can always draw.
Love that. So when you were drawing on the business cards, were you typically drawing something in the restaurant?
Just wherever we were.
Wherever you were.
That's wonderful. And okay, tell me if I'm right here in thinking that I bet there were some really particularly vivid memories that you have from that trip, because you were taking that time to both notice and to draw it.
I remember the zoo.
Did you draw some animals? That would have been.
Yeah.
I don't think Deb and I are quite up for drawing animals. So we bow down to anyone who can draw an animal. That's wonderful.
I just created my first tin.
You did?
I did.
Awesome.
I don't know if you can see this in this
Okay, wait,
document.
I have to change my view so I can make sure I can see.
Deborah, can you spotlight her?
Yeah, let me attempt to do that. Hold
Yeah.
on.
And everyone should know we're going to have a little tin interaction in just a moment, but we've got a early achiever here, which is awesome.
Sorry.
Early adopter.
Yes.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Yay.
That work? Can you guys see?
it?
Can you read it to us?
Yeah, it says, the caption is "Life Goes On." And it says, today I noticed that it makes me happy when my scarlet runner bean grows an inch today.
Mm.
And then you have my little bean there.
Oh,
And my
lovely.
pot, here's the trellis, and here it goes up and grows like crazy.
Does it really grow that fast?
It does. No, I'm making up the inch, but you can actually kind of watch
You
it.
can
It really
actually
grows
see.
fast.
That is excellent.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
A small thing, but very sweet, right?
It's very, very easy to draw too. That's
Yeah.
another important point.
Well, that's probably a great segue to say, unless any more questions, and we can come back to questions or comments in a few minutes, but we wanted to invite people to create their first tin or perhaps their second tin. So
I will leave. I have to leave. Thank you very much. It was interesting.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you for coming.
Yeah, if you need to drop off, of course, no problem. And thank you for being here. But if you want to stick around, we'll just give you some very simple directions, and then we'll pause for a few minutes so you have some time to do some writing and sketching, and then we'll come back and maybe even share.
And Willow and I will be doing a tin as well.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty simple to get started. If you have a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, or even if you have some simple art supplies, grab them and then just think about what you see, hear, think, or feel in this moment, or even think back to earlier in the day or yesterday. And no need to overthink it. Just capture a moment, and then on your paper, start with the words "today I noticed" and write in a sentence or two what you noticed, and be brave and make a little sketch. And remember, everyone's an artist in their own unique way.
So I'll set the timer here for, I'll set it for 5 minutes. And then if people need a little more time, we can certainly do that. Does that sound reasonable? Deborah, sound good?
Yeah, and I would say that for anybody who's feeling trepidation about drawing, because Willow and Deborah say they're not true artists, but I think they're very talented. And I think if you have any concern about drawing, just write down your sketch, write down the thoughts, and don't worry about the sketch. Sketch is bonus if you can do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And there's no need to share the sketch if you have something that you've observed that you want to share afterwards, and there's no need to share the visual. But so participate in any way that feels comfortable. And I'll hit start now.
I don't think it's showing up well though. I have today I noticed fruit trees in bloom.
Nice.
nice.
It's not really showing up.
No, I can see it. Is that outside your window?
Out in my front yard,
Uh-huh.
the neighbor's yard, actually.
Yeah, I posted about blossoms also. Today I noticed blossoms on my new apricot tree.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh,
So excited.
Nice.
very jealous.
Today I noticed how much my cat Robert loves Zoom.
Tell us more.
He wants to be included. I just drew a little TV and figure of a cat. He hears the voices. He comes, he climbs into my lap or lets me pick him up, and then he wants to see everybody. And this lasts for maybe a minute or two, and then he's off.
He wants in on the action.
Right. He likes, I guess maybe he's bored with my company. But if it's people that he knows, that he recognizes their voices, he will stay longer.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that Robert is a cat who gets to choose what you're wearing because he's in the clean laundry.
Yeah. Robert gets his way.
Exactly.
He's a fragile flower, and he's very well taken care of.
Oh.
To Leo, who is on this Zoom with us, Leo, you've had that phenomenon as well when the cat always wants to sit behind you, I've noticed. Yeah, not today, but seems like in your other Zooms, there's always a cat behind your head.
All right, we've got about a minute and a half left. All right, does everyone feel ready to stop? Want another minute or two?
Somehow I'm having trouble figuring out how to make notice of the sounds of the workmen working on the house next door.
How to represent that visually?
Yeah. We need some ideas of how to capture some of these things that we notice.
Yeah, sometimes when I have that arises for me a lot because I can't rely on sophisticated art skills. So sometimes I just try to think of the most simple thing. And in your case, it's sound. So maybe you just represent it abstractly, kind of in the way I did kindness. You know, you just think of something that maybe feels like those sounds.
Or it might remind you of something, like if it's jackhammering, maybe it reminds you of being at the dentist.
Since I have workmen on two sides of me right now, you could use a hammer and then just put some, I don't know, little dashes or something to show that the hammer is making noise.
Yeah.
That's about what I'm hearing right now, along with their music and singing.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's maybe you draw earplugs.
Oh no, never. And it would help to see everyone that's on. So if we could go to the screen that we're not sharing the words so we could see everyone.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll stop sharing the screen. Thank you. Yeah, I'll come back to that at the end if we need to. That's a great idea. You've obviously been on Zoom before.
Much nicer.
Yay.
Shall we just start sharing as people are finishing up? All right, I'm going to go first. And tell me if you can see this. Are you able? Well, I'm going to read it and then I'll show it to you. It says, today I noticed that my favorite item on my desk is a stapler that looks just like the one I had as a child. And then I just drew a little stapler,
Oh,
little red stapler. This may, for all I know, this is the stapler I had as a child. I don't know where I got this. Deborah, did you do one?
You know what, Deborah, I cheated because I knew that I might need to show one and I might be too amped up doing Zoom hosting with you guys. So because I had done some in the past, I have
cool.
mine and my kids' ones, if anybody's interested.
Awesome.
What's that?
Awesome. Let's see.
Okay, so this was from a rainy day. And I said, today I noticed the raindrops piling up on the windshield. With a little imagination and one eye squinted, the ordinary street became a Seurat-like painting from the passenger seat of my parked car. And that allowed me to just do dots because, again,
yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
fantastic.
I love
And we
the
know
rain.
that was a while ago because we haven't had rain in a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. I love the little dots becoming a Seurat painting.
I can share Jay's too.
Yes.
Jay said, today I noticed the moss slowly devouring the floors. And he meant that of the ground, outside.
Oh,
Oh.
and how old is he?
Jay is 12.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
What a nice observation.
Yeah.
Shall I go next?
Well, I
Does he
did,
oh, yes, go, Renata.
I did, and can you see it? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
My runner bean, and you can tell if you don't know what you want to write, you have to figure out before you put it on paper, so you don't have to correct your writing.
Oh, no, we encourage crossouts.
But there it is.
And,
think
is that
15
colored pencil that you used?
Yeah, just regular colored pencil.
Nice.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
Well, I'll show you why you don't want everybody to sketch. Okay. All right. So today I noticed that the lemons last longer on the lemon tree than they do in the refrigerator.
You know what? We so want you to sketch.
Absolutely.
That is just simple and lovely.
I like Diane's approach. Take photos.
Anyone else?
Okay, you don't want to see my sketch, but I'll tell you what I said. Today I noticed that waffles and bacon with my granddaughter for breakfast are a great way to start the day.
Oh,
And my waffles and bacon look really weird.
Let's see.
I should have taken a photo of them.
no, it's about really taking that time to put pen to paper or pencil to paper. It's a different experience than taking a photo, obviously.
I should add that this is the first time since last March that I have had another person in my house. I've had my shots and she came up to visit me for a couple days. So it's really nice to have somebody else in the house with me.
Wow. That must be a huge moment for you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's made my day just so much better, just hearing that.
And Joan and Scott, I just really want to say that if you just let yourself sketch, you just might be surprised that you come to enjoy it, because really I had the same feelings as you, and I just kept at it, and it's now become something that I really enjoy, and I honestly had not drawn at all. So I just encourage, you don't have to share it with people if you don't want, but I encourage you to draw your waffles and your lemon tree.
All you need is a yellow pencil, Scott, and you've got those lemons.
And keep it simple.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one.
Oh, great.
I received a, what do you call it, orchid plant about 3 years ago for Mother's Day. and usually I kill them right off the bat. This one is now in its third year, and
Wow.
they have come and shot up. I don't know if you can see, but they have shot up, and I've been getting a blossom, maybe every few weeks, and now I'm up to number 7, and it's still thriving. So today was a very special day to see number 7 come up.
Oh, excellent.
That's fantastic. It's beautiful noticing and a beautiful flower. Congratulations.
And I want to know your secret because I've never made it past a year.
It loves me. It came from
That's
somebody
it.
that.
Orchid food.
So there, what can I say?
That's great. Anyone else?
I can read.
Yay.
Today I noticed that there is so much goodness in this world, and people are silently making the world a beautiful place.
Oh.
No, this stunning. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I have one to share without a picture, and that is, today I noticed how a good friend shares their most embarrassing moments.
Oh, yes.
That's the test, right? Those are the best friends. Wonderful.
You just, when you start thinking about this and paying attention, you just really realize there's endless things to notice. And so many of them, as we're seeing right here, are sweet and uplifting. And just once you start noticing, you keep noticing.
There's nothing that's not worth noticing, is what we found.
Victoria, what about if people want to share their sketches, maybe we can include it in a future newsletter.
No.
I tried to stay mute. I think it's a wonderful idea. We could do a lovely little story about how one thing that we see can bring peace, love, and happiness in our life for the day. Yeah, actually, I did that yesterday with a couple of friends. And all we did, we took pictures and we noticed the blossoms, and we were just in awe all day. I gave us all kind of energy, but it was, sharing the moment, right, Nancy?
Yeah. Nice. Where was that?
Over at Filoli. The daffodils are in bloom,
Oh.
and the grounds look wonderful. And we just had a grand time, and it just kind of refreshed us. And we have pictures that we've been to. Nice day. You can just walk outside and see the lemons too, Scott.
That's wonderful. I was at Filoli for the first time in December, and everything was dead or dormant, but it was still beautiful, and I can't wait to go back. And now you've said daffodils, so I'm going to try and go soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're like my noticing, because I'm standing here, not just with something pretty to look at, but I'm getting this amazing smell, because today I noticed that just 2 stalks of freesias make the whole room smell great. So my freesias are finally starting to bloom from my bulbs that I planted, and I'm so excited.
Mine are not ready yet, just coming out.
Yep. Oh, but it's so good when they start.
Fresh flowers every day.
Yep.
All right.
Well, anyone else have anything to share or observe or notice before we go?
Can I
I
mention?
had a great time.
Deborah?
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, Deborah and Willow, this was really fantastic. Thank you very much. It put a name to something that I think a lot of us were doing during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Today I noticed it's nice having that spelled out and becoming sort of a habit. So thank you. But this group that remains, we had 30 on here at one point earlier today, and now it's down to 13. But since you're the hardcore Zoomers, I just wanted to mention what Deborah was talking about at the beginning, and that is there are lots of Zoom opportunities in our village calendar. And a couple of them are the book club and have you read this or have you seen this? There are a couple of Zoom events that Village of the Coastside puts on. And we had Sue Santoro on this Zoom a little bit earlier. I think she signed off already. But it's too bad because I wanted her to introduce some of the topics that are available. So every week now on Wednesday or Thursday, you get an email called what's it called? The Weekly Messenger from Village of the Coastside. When you see that, please do read it because Deborah, there's always half a dozen to a dozen items of interest.
I love their messenger. Deborah and Willow, I can share one with you. It's just a really nice collection of some things that you can watch the nest eggs of a bird hatching. You can hear a symphony. You can attend one of the reading and what are you reading talks. It's just a whole collection, and they usually have some humor tinged in there. It's really nice.
Huh. Yeah. So we all on the Bayside of our village complex are invited to attend some of those events that are put on by the Coastside. So keep your eyes open for that.
Wonderful. Scott, you mentioned something that I'll just go back to do a quick screen share just to sort of wrap up our presentation. Because we wanted to, whoops, that didn't work. Hold on. Oh dear, you guys are gonna be very, oh, there it is, okay. We wanted to mention, well, first that, hold on. There are lots of ways to get in touch with us. And if you do want to share a photo of your noticing, your tin, Deborah can share this information with you, but we have an email address, hello.team.tin@gmail.com. You don't need to write this down. We'll get that out to you. And then, we really would encourage you to start your own practice of noticing. And if it is something that you're sort of already doing, then it will just be sort of an organic way to integrate this. And you've got your own, do it on your own, find a buddy to tin with. I'm guessing someone in this group might be interested or willing, or even start a tin club where you set a date and, a group of you choose to share your noticings at a particular time or date, because this is obviously a very Zoom friendly thing to do. And it's a really nice way to connect.
Could you please repeat where you publish yours? Where do I go to?
Right here. So, and I think Deborah will be able to share this. So our main place that we do this is on Instagram, and it's instagram.com, and we are today.I.notice. The dots are important because otherwise you'll end up on a different page, different account. So that's Instagram. And what's nice about Instagram is that we post every 2 days or every other day, and we alternate our posts. So it'll be Willow one day and Deborah the next, and Willow one day and Deborah the next. For us, that's a nice part of this conversation that we've had for all this time. We do also post our tins to our website, which is todayinotice.com, but it doesn't have the same cadence necessarily, which you may not even notice, but it's something that we notice. And then whenever we post to Instagram, it also automatically goes to our Facebook page, which is Today I Noticed on Facebook. And then if you ever wanted to reach us, this is our email address, hello.team.tin@gmail.com.
Thank you.
Sure. And we'll get that sent out in an email. And then
and really, we'd love to see, to hear about your experience or see some of your tins, whether they're words only, words and sketches, or photos. So feel free to email us.
We'd love it. Great. And we'll leave you with this
The whole
one.
idea of today, in short, the idea of today, I noticed, is it's an invitation to everyone to take up this practice because we think it's so rewarding. So in conclusion, as we said
Diane
earlier,
found one.
what?
Diane found Mimi the cat.
Oh, Diane's there. Is that on Instagram or Facebook?
It's on Facebook.
Okay.
Cool. So we just want to thank all of you for joining us and participating in this. We think that, you know, if you go out and start noticing more, that you'll see that, just like this tin says, today I noticed that the more you notice, the more you notice.
It's
Right.
been such a
Willow
treat.
and Deborah, thank you so much. We really enjoyed it. And I know everybody is going to be observing a lot more in their daily lives. So,
Sure. Our pleasure. It was really fun.
It was great to be here with everyone.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
And I
Bye.
hope that we have recorded this so that people that were not here can see it later. I know Ruthie Anderson would have loved to have seen this.
it is being recorded. We'll send it out. Yes.
Okay,
And we'll put it on the video page of the website too.
good.
Okay.
Thanks a
care.
million.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.